I've got no idea. I'd like to say I've got an answer to that. Generally at that time of year, I've had best successes first thing in the morning, and it can be any time from first light till lunchtime, depending on the weather really. So yeah, it's a little bit weather dependent. So if it gets hot quickly, they can come off the bottom and start sunbathing. But yeah, I'd say at that time of year they're definitely spending at least a couple of hours a morning thinking about it. It depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're fishing your typical weedy gravel pit that strength is the ultimate key, then it would be mono for me, a 15-pound subline, something with a diameter of 0.40. I tend to use that over fluorocarbon in weedy conditions because I don't want the fluorocarbon to pull down into the weed too much before I get the bite. I like fluorocarbon for open water fishing, or a little bit of weed, where there's not too much between me and where I'm fishing to, and where obviously I can get away with using sort of 12-pound fluorocarbon. And I tend to only use braid for all-out chucking. You know, if I'm fishing further, I want to fish further than I can with mono, then yeah, I'll use braid for all-out lashing. That fish feed less in high pressure conditions. You know, I think I've had many a great session in high pressure. So yeah, although low pressure can trigger them to feed in certain situations, I think so can a bright sunny day can turn them on just as much at the right time of year than the spring. You know, I almost think carp are solar powered, you know, that the warmth in the water is more important than the weather outside it. So yeah, I'd say that high pressure is not good conditions for carp fishing. Well, I don't fully understand it, but what I can say is I have noticed on certain venues that certain phases are better. The only phase that I've really noticed, to be honest, is the full moon. On this particular water, I've had all of my best captures have fallen on the full moon. I'm not saying I haven't caught on other conditions, because I have, but the best sessions have fallen on the full moon. And I can also think of 4 or 5 other occasions on other venues where the biggest common in the lake has come out on the full moon. On the March full moon last year, I had a brace of 40-pound commons, which is the first time I'd sort of noticed it for my own angling, but also when I looked back on the fishes captured, that it also come out on a few other full moons. So other people have said to me the new moon, the harvest moon, all this. To be honest, I don't read too much into it, but yeah, on this particular venue, I'm quite happy when it's a full moon. Definitely the Burfield Common deserves the most credit to anyone who may capture it. There's been many a good angler, like I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head, like John Holt, Terry Hearn, and Oz Holness, who literally went through the stock like with ridiculous ability and just mowed through them all, like, and still took so long to catch that big one. There's something about that fish. A lot of people would say it's probably the best fish in the country. I wouldn't agree with it being the best looking, because if it was 35 pound, I think you wouldn't look twice at it. But I'd definitely agree that it's probably the most difficult carp to target, single out. Maybe one day I'll have a go for it. But I've definitely got a little bit of fear, or well, maybe a healthy respect for it. It's a fish that I believe you could spend 10 years fishing for, go through the whole stock 10 times over, and still not come away with the ultimate prize. So yeah, that would be my answer to that. I really don't know what it is with that fish. You know, I've not fished there. I've spoke to people about it a little bit. It's obviously very cute. It must eat. I think all big fish to get to a size have to eat. A lot of it's down to genes, but you still need to feed that shell. And it's either the way it feeds, or the fact that it feeds where it can't be fished for. There's quite a few areas on Burfield that can't be reached by anglers, and possibly maybe he lives in them a lot of the time and just knows full well that he's got free food, which he can take without the risk. Because I generally think all carp are aware, once they've been caught, they're aware that we're there trying to drag them out of the water by using bait, and I think a lot of the time, well, their whole lives revolve around staying out of our way. And I just think obviously he's just a little bit better at it than the rest.